What's up, people? Eddie Carrington, Mayor of Flux City, and today I'm going to be bringing you along with me on a journey. I'm going from the west side of Detroit to the east side of Detroit via bus, and I'm headed over to the east side to check on my current project, an $8.2 million mixed-use development that will hold a restaurant on the first level and 18 units of residential apartments up top. But I'm headed over there to check the site out, make sure everything is going as it needs to, and I'm bringing you along with me on this journey, so come along. Now we are about to hop on this bus, but first I need a little bit of energy, so I'm gonna go stop into Good Cookies and grab me a couple of treats to take with me on my journey. So this is actually a bus bench that we replaced with the help of Sit On in Detroit, and we sponsored this bench roughly over a year ago and actually helped construct the bench and install it with the Sit On Detroit crew, and so really good to see this bench still in good shape over a year after we replaced the old bench with this one. So cool to see. Alright, so that was my first of 3 buses that I need to take in order to get to my destination. And so now I am at a bus stop on Van Dyke and McNichols. And it's not too bad. You know, it's a bit dusty and dirty. Needs a little bit of cleanup, but overall there's a roof or you know, some type of covering that gives you the ability to protect yourself against the weather, which isn't too bad, honestly. It's right now December 28th and it's raining, so I can't really complain about, you know, how warm it is, to be honest. Really glad that you are taking part of this journey with me, because public transit is extremely important for any major city. And you know, the city of Detroit has spent a lot of money, along with private entities, on things like the Q line, which, you know, it's pretty cool to have, but there really isn't too many other transit options that can beat a bus system, a well managed and well operated bus system. And the city of Detroit actually has a really good system. It gives you a number of tools that allow for you to see where the bus is and how far it may be from whatever stop you are at or plan to be. It gives you an opportunity to create an itinerary of sorts. And so, overall, the bus system here in Detroit is really, really good in my opinion. Now, this is the Motor City, and with it being the Motor City, the bus system isn't necessarily highlighted as much as it could be. In the past, there have been issues with regard to the timeliness of the bus. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but safety concerns, things of that nature, but cleanliness of the bus. But overall, the bus is clean. It's usually on time. The staff that works with DDOT, very pleasant. Not to mention, it is a pretty rough role to have when you deal with the public in general, but they do a pretty good job. So really pleased about the bus. Oh, wow, it looks like it's a training coach bus coming along. We got a couple of buses in line here. It looks like 3. And my next stop is actually to go down to Forest, go south on Van Dyke to Forest, and then to take Forest over to my site. So let's see which one of these buses are going to stop for me. Well, it looks like none of them stopped for me. They actually were in the process, I guess, of training drivers, which is a good thing, right? Looks like they're hiring and bringing on board more staff to, in turn, allow for them to service the city of Detroit residents. So really cool to be able to, see that. However, I was hoping that one of those buses were for me, but I'm pretty sure that the next bus is going to be coming along soon. So actually, let me check the schedule. So the cost for riding the DDOT is pretty affordable, as you can imagine. For a 4-hour pass, it's $2. For a 24-hour pass, it's $5. For a 7-day pass, it's $22, and then for a 31-day pass, it's $70. Overall, it's pretty affordable, especially if you don't want to spend that money on an Uber, or if you compare that price to an Uber, where one ride from the east side to the west side may cost $35, and that's only one way. So at the end of the day, this trip is going to cost me $2 round trip, and that's pretty affordable in my eyes. Just got off my second of 3 buses, and so now I'm on East 4th Street, which will eventually connect to East Warren and pretty much drop me really close to my project. But this bus stop, I'm not that lucky. It's a bit rainy and there is no cover for me, but it could be worse. So one thing I do want to point out is when you ride the bus, you, especially for somebody who drives a lot, you pay attention to your surroundings more. You pay attention to the buildings and the streets and, property upkeep and things of that nature. And one thing to be said, there is a lot of blight still in the city of Detroit across our commercial corridors, more specifically. And we have to figure out how to fix that. There are so many different buildings that are empty, boarded up, halfway burned, halfway exposed to the elements, halfway, open to a point where individuals, kids, people can sneak in and or get in and get hurt or worse, right? So, that is one thing that when you ride the bus in the city, you tend to kind of go from good areas to not so good areas to great areas to bad areas. And when I say good and bad, I'm talking about, the lack of tenants and the lack of maintenance and the lack of, commercial options that us as residents have access to. So, there something needs to happen and or continue to happen. And the city is doing a pretty good job at, demolition, tearing down a lot of the blighted buildings across the commercial corridor. It seems like they're ramping up their efforts regarding that task over the last few years, whereas for a while it's been residential and now it's more commercial focused. But as you can see here, even there's a vacant building that has been vacant for quite a long time. We're one of the buses that I was hoping for, but looks like they're not in service. How you doing, boss? Not too far away from my stop. The bus is pretty empty, so I feel comfortable enough talking to myself while I'm preparing to get off the bus. But overall, the ride was pretty good. Along with me today as I took the bus from Rosedale Park, which is on the west side of Detroit, to East English Village on the east side of Detroit. Overall, it took me about 2 hours to take the bus from the west side to the east side. Usually in a vehicle it takes me about 25 to 30 minutes to get here, so public transit does take a little bit longer to get to your destination, but for $2 you can't really beat it. And took me 3 buses, and I had a little bit of a wait in the rain, no big deal, but I'm here. And public transit is very, very important to many, many cities, including ours. And I just wanted to make sure I highlight just how easy it is to catch the bus here in the city, and how inexpensive it is as well. Now we are about to hop on this bus, but first I need a little bit of energy, so I'm gonna go stop into Good Cookies and grab me a couple of treats to take with me on my journey. So let me introduce you to Good Cookies on McNichols between Southfield and Evergreen.
Owner of Good Cookies here in North Rosedale Park. Good Cookies started out from, I guess it started out from being a little stressed. I'm a real estate broker and out in the field in the early 2000s when the market crashed, and come home and I would bake to relax. So the more I baked, my wife would take things to work, and for people to just kind of let us know what their thoughts were. So I started baking 2 and 3 dozen a week until she said, "Wait a minute, I think we need to make some money from this." So so ultimately I started baking cookies more. Just friends would ask me to bake, and I started perfecting recipes, and then fast forward up to 2012, where I'd already started baking for UAW4, City Detroit, the different news stations, Fox and WDIV, and DTE. And so I had about 25 people come over to the house. We actually, I made 9 different types of cookies. And so I let folks try all 9 cookies, and I had little comment cards, and they let me know what their thoughts were. And then I had names that I was going to name the company there for them to give me their recommendations, which is not always the best thing to do because everyone has names that are crazy. So so they love the cookies. I want to say this was probably October 2012, and then by January 2013, I formed Good Cookies. So I started doing more catering, more events like little pop-up events. I would bake in the kitchen at the Max Fisher, and I would bake at the Eastern Market commercial kitchens. I would easily bake 1,000 cookies in my oven at home, which was crazy when I think back at it. But so ultimately, as years went on, 13, 14, 17, folks started asking me when was I going to open a brick and mortar, which was never the plan. It was never the plan. So so ultimately, I had conversations with my wife and was like, well, let's do it. So I went down, because we live in Detroit in the Midtown area. So I looked at some places in Midtown, found a little spot, and we were going to move forward on it. So the owners of the property were really nice, and they were supposed to do some things to it that it took them a long time. So my wife was saying that maybe because you preach to your clients as a real estate broker to own it, why are we going to lease a place? So it just, of course, a light bulb went on, and ultimately I went looking. So I came to North Rosedale. I had some ideas. There was an old bakery called Knutson's Bakery that I used to hit that place probably from the age of 12 or 13. So Knutson's was there still, so, and it was on the market. So I went and scheduled for a showing, and went inside. And I remember I got a wedding cake there. I used to get donuts on the way to basketball practice, get all kind of stuff. So when I walked into this bakery and went in the kitchen, the first thing I smelled was cigarette smoke. So it was a little bit scary. So, you know, the back part needed a lot of work and stuff, but it was a great location, it was great size, but for what they were asking, it was a bit much. So after I had my inspectors come in, I came back with a different offer, and of course they didn't accept it. So, and I wasn't going any further. So about 2 blocks down the street going west was an old hair salon, which I had known it had been vacant for some years. So went and checked it out. There was no for sale sign. So ultimately I went into my system, into the multi-list, and then I went in public records and found out who the last agent was, and come to find out the person was still willing to sell. And I had a discussion with the agent, and we went back and forth, and we made a deal. So I purchased the place, and I purchased it in 2018. After we closed, I came to the shop, looked at it, thanked the Lord, and never came back for another 6 months because I was out doing real estate, and I was busy until, of course, my wife says we're paying insurance and lights and all that stuff at that building. When we're going to do something with it. So, and meanwhile, in between this, I won the Detroit Motor City Match Grant, which I had to start using anyway. You know, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it after a year. So 2019, maybe July, I started tearing this place out. I tore it out. I started the process myself, and then, you know, of course, it got a little heavy, and I was just going to tear pieces of it. But when I went downtown to building and safety, this place had so many violations that it was probably best for me to completely gut it, which I did. I gutted everything. I took all the electrical, everything, and the electrical's new, walls, everything is new, plumbing. And that was 2019. Got to 20. We already had the drawings from our architect, approvals from the city, and then they were working on it, building the walls. 2020, January, then COVID hit, you know, so I had to shut down. All my walls were up, but I was able to actually paint. So I came in because my real estate company was closed down, so I came in and painted every day. I just came in, turned on some music, and then I came in and painted every day. So I painted this entire place, and then probably springtime, I was able to start. Folks were coming back, and then summer, and so we were able to finish building it out in 20, and then I was taking orders out of here, but not, you know, the doors weren't open. And then in 21, June 18th, we had our grand opening. So it was one of Motor City Match's largest grand openings. So
Nice.
You know, it was great. So then, you know, from then on, this is what I've been doing and growing the business. The neighborhood has embraced me. I'm here in North Rosedale Park, 19007 West McNichols. We're on the corner of West McNichols and Sunderland. Our Instagram is Just Eat Good Cookies. Email is justeatgoodcookies.com. So, you know, it's been definitely an experience for me, a labor of love building it out. We just built out the patio, so next summer we'll be having some real events in the patio. We'll have some music, we'll have some movie nights, game nights in the patio area. But other than that, it's just been a labor of love and just continuing to grow it, and I'm thankful for the community.
Nice. So what's the number one selling cookie?
Chocolate chip is
Chocolate
always, it's just that standard chocolate chip is always the one, So figure between chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin, are the two main, but chocolate chip is
always number one.
At the end of the week, every week, chocolate chip is always the winner.
Nice.
Oatmeal raisin, my signature is the sugar lemon zest, so that's a big one, and peanut butter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you know which cookie I'm getting. Let me get a few of those chocolate chips.
Some chocolate chips.
I'll see you guys on the bus.